Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next. I think this is our fourth episode in the Unstoppable Clients series. I'm so excited. I've got the amazing Mary McGilvray here to talk about her beautiful business, her offerings, her experience in the mastermind, what she's been moving through. And I'm so excited to just see where the chat is going. I was saying to her before that I've been a bit lazy with not recording intros before every episode. So we just dive right in. So I'll hand it over to Mary and you can tell us a bit about you, how you started your business, why you do what you do, and we'll just flow from there.
Thanks, Cassie. So I'm a little bit nervous and I'm just going to name that because I think
Yes.
it is really important that we really, like so much of what we do is we push it away. So even just naming how we're feeling in a moment is so, so powerful.
Yes.
So I am a business coach that uses business constellations as part of the work I do, which might be quite new and different to what a lot of people have heard before. And so what business constellations is, it's a way that we can uncover the hidden dynamics that's hiding behind our business or as parts of ourselves. And so it's a beautiful way of bringing into our awareness what is going on underneath the surface. And I've found it so personal, both from a personal perspective of working with the different parts of me that come up, the imposter, the sabotage. I now don't like using those words, but people relate to that because it puts a negative connotation on them. But actually, they're parts of us that just want to be seen and heard and expressed and have beautiful messages. And
Yes.
so when we can bring that to the surface, we find so much love and compassion for those parts, and things begin to shift and change quite quickly and magically.
I love that.
So
And you were in a very different field before.
I'm a manifesting generator in human design, which now looking back over my life, I've been involved in so many things. So I was a chartered accountant for over 26 years. I have also been a scuba diving instructor.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I did that for a few years. I am a photographer as well, and I love photographing newborns and little people.
Yes.
That was at the core of the work I did. And then also a yoga teacher, breathwork facilitator, which has really led me to diving down to the nervous system and discovering more parts about ourselves and why we behave the certain way we do and react, and how can we start to bring ourselves into more alignment with all of that. Yeah.
So amazing. And so I love that you spoke before about the nervousness, and that was something we discussed just coming on the call.
Sure.
And tell me more about something that you've been moving through in terms of that not the nervousness per se, but like the visibility and the being seen, because that's been a really big part of our work together.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
tell me more about that.
So one of the biggest things for me is that I know I have beautiful gifts to share with everyone. I've seen the power of the work I do. The people I've worked with have been blown away, but I haven't allowed myself to be visible. And so I grew up in a big family. I have 6 older brothers, very domineering personalities. And so I was the youngest and the girl that came along and changed everything. And so for most of my life, it was easier and safer for me just to shrink myself and do what was expected, don't push against anyone. And I can see that also has played out in different relationships I've been in. And so over the last couple of years, in particular, I've started to really get to know myself, know what I like, what I want to do, follow what feels right to me. And the final step for that, for me, I feel is allowing myself to be seen. And so whether that's on social media, but it's also come into our calls. So me feeling free to speak up and express and be seen when I'm sometimes quite vulnerable, because we do get, some of our calls, we're moving through big stuff and there's a vulnerability there and emotions.
Yeah, and also for you to feel safe to take up space on the call.
Yeah.
And to, as you said, like put your hand up, not just ask for coaching and share vulnerably, but to actually take up time on the call.
Cool. Yeah.
Because as I always say, like there's time and space for everyone. But then you have to allow yourself to be like, yes, I'm worthy of taking up time and space and being seen and heard. And also in a way, like being the center of attention for that moment, or however long the coaching goes on for. So, and I've noticed, I don't know if I've told you yet, but I'm celebrating with you for this, that you now ask for coaching earlier on the calls.
I'm more willing to speak up.
Sometimes you would wait to be the last client. And sometimes I like lovingly call, I was like, hey, Mary, you're next. Usually I wait for everyone, to just put their hand up in whatever order. It always works. Like, I think we rarely have, it doesn't even matter if two people put their hands up at the same time. We always just work it out. But there are times where I'm like, Mary, it's your turn.
And I'm always like, I hate you, Cass.
My favorite times are when my clients are like, I hate you. Not favorite, as in like I have lots of favorite times with you, but like I just love when that happens, because it's always for you. It's happening for you. And so I've noticed how, yes, you're more verbal on the calls, like even typing in the chat when someone else is speaking, you put your hand up sooner, you seem so much more willing to be heard. And I love that. And there was something that you said before in relation to, your like basically the birth order. You were like, I came along and I changed everything. And I just want to offer that to you as like a really empowering belief for your life. I come along and I change everything.
Okay, so now we're coaching on the podcast, because I hadn't put that together, because I'd been so caught in the other belief, not that I'm here to change everything.
Yeah, I come along, I just got goosebumps. So for you and your client, and you can say how powerful on your homepage, I come along and I change everything. Or I help you change everything. Because that's what you're doing. You're igniting that in someone else. Working with me helps you change everything in your business.
Yeah.
So I want you, how does that feel? It's like a cloak. How does that feel when you put that cloak on?
I feel a little bit of nervous. No, actually, I don't even want to call it nervousness. There's a energy there.
Yeah.
Because if I call it nervousness, it's like, but maybe it's more excitement than nervous.
And if you call it nervousness, it's kind of what you said before of using the words imposter or sabotage. Like it could have in Equid's, a negative connotation, or a negative, like no emotions are bad, but it can have a negative connotation just because of how we use it. So if you change the word, it's not nervousness.
It's just energy. It's just energy. And so, there's like, for me, because I am very body centered. So I notice, oh, my heart's fluttering a bit. Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I love it.
So good.
So, as I said to you before we hit record, and this is just for everyone listening, we just flow. I sent through questions before, but then we just flow with whatever has come up. So I'm going to throw it over to you. Where would you like to start? Do you want to talk about some of the challenges you've moved through? I mean, we did touch on that, but there's maybe more. Do you want to tell us even more about your business constellation sessions? I want you to take up the space to choose what's next.
I think one of the things I'd like to perhaps share with others is, and this is something I found in the mastermind, and it aligns so much with my work and belief, and it was really highlighted to me. I had a business coach before that I did some one-on-one work with, and it was not a good experience. They were very much, this is the way that you're supposed to do things, you're not doing it right. And so it really fed into past patterns, even growing up, of you've got to do things a certain way. And the mastermind has really helped me find my way. And so you haven't told us what we're supposed to be doing. You haven't said, well, you should be feeling this, or this is how your messaging should be. You've created the space to allow it to be how we need it to be. And that is so powerful. There's so much in this world that dictates of how we should be, where when we can align to what is right for us, that's where things really start to transform.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
want to say thank you to that. And it reminds you of when we said before, when, you know, sometimes in the mastermind, people are like, I hate you, Cass. Because sometimes I think people, like, we want to be told. It can also be comforting to be like, no, this is how to do
Do
it.
it.
And that's why I'll often say, I'll be like, well, you know, if someone says, I don't know, and I say to you, well, if you did know, what would you do?
Yeah.
And
Because
then
we've got
everyone's like,
that
I
inner
hate you.
wisdom. We've
Yes,
got the inner wisdom in
exactly.
us, and it's
Yeah.
having someone that can allow us to tap into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want you to get off a call, and this will sound counterintuitive to like running a business where recurring clients is an awesome thing. But I want you to not need me after. I
Yeah.
want you to get off a call and be like, I know what I'm doing now, as opposed to I need to ask Cass a million more things. And then, as I said, counterintuitive, because you can still come and ask me anything and everything, but then I will pretty much always reflect it back to you, or help you find that answer. And then because that's so empowering, that's why I think, just to say, like, some of the clients stay in for multiple rounds, because you don't need me, but you love the space that's held and the coaching. And so I love that that's something that you're aware of, because I always want you to know that you have the answer that you need inside, because that's the most powerful way to run your business and to live life, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's interesting because I have been very much someone that has learnt to do everything on my own, to my own detriment, because I won't ask for help. And so when we try to just do it all on our own, it doesn't allow for the opportunity to open to something new. So I don't think I'd ever not need a business coach. And it's the same. I have a business coach. I have a personal coach. I have someone that helps me work with my body. And that's my support team around me so that I can show up and do the work. And those people, they ask the questions that perhaps we're not willing to ask ourselves. They allow us to go deeper into our own wisdom, and for that to be shared and come through. And that's where the power is.
Yeah. And I think it's so true. And also then it also gives space for, if someone on your support team offers a suggestion and it doesn't resonate, you then feel even more equipped and more empowered to say that doesn't work. And you'll hear, like, you know, I often say on a call, I'm going to offer this as a suggestion. And if it doesn't resonate, like, you can tell me it's completely wrong for you, because that also helps you test the boundaries of what works for you and what you want to say yes or no to, and to know you don't have to take on everything that someone else says for you.
That's right. It's really developing that trust in ourselves to know, yes, that feels true. Maybe it doesn't. And that's where, like, one of the things with business constellations, because there's often what we call healing statements that we use. And when we get the client to say that, it's very much, does that feel true? Or is there something that is more true that needs to be said? And so it's really always checking in to find what that truth is.
Love that. So on that, can you tell us more about business constellation work?
One of the things that drew me to the mastermind and your work was around this whole, your business is its own energy field, which really aligned to me and aligns to constellations. And so what we're working with is the energy field. And we can do that either externally or internally through visualization. But when we're doing it externally, we're feeling into the field, and then we bring in different representations. So if I'm doing that one-on-one, we'll write or draw a picture to represent, say, the critic, the inner critic. And so we'll bring that into the field, and where in the room does it sit? What way is it facing? And then we'll bring the person in as well. And so we're looking at the dynamics of what's happening there. You know, is it blocking? Is it looking away? Is the person got their back turned?
Mm.
And then how can we find out what information is there to look to understand and perhaps move towards connection? And so we see different movements happening, and there's a lightness and an openness that's created through that.
I love that. So it also feels like it would be very body-based as well. Like it's
Yeah.
tapping into what you're sensing and feeling as
Feeling.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we can work with our inner parts, or we can look at there's some sort of block in the business. And so we can bring in you as the business owner, the block, and then the business, and maybe even clients. And what's everyone doing in that field? And what's the information that's coming through? So if you go and stand or put your hand on the block, what's it wanting you to know? What awareness can we bring in? And then it's slowly, when we bring that awareness in, everything starts to shift and change. And so the field changes. And then when you come back to working with the business, it feels lighter. You feel more aligned. You know what action step is wanting.
I love that. It weaves so much together, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And it
Yeah.
feels so, it's still so practical, as well as being somatic and energetic and spiritual as
Sure.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bringing it all in.
I love it.
And so then the
awesome.
other element is, how can we resource ourselves to be with more? And so we have these two dynamics of we want the information, but then we have to build our capacity, build how much we're able to hold. And that can change on a day-to-day basis, moment-to-moment basis, so that we start to expand. And so then as we're finding more expression and doing more in our business or up-leveling, we've got to go through those nervous system stages to be able to hold more. What tools and resources help us to be with the big things? And so that's another element that I'm working with.
Yes, because I think so often people want that, there's the mental side that's like, I want more, I want more clients, I want more money, I want more opportunities, I want more even offers in my business, or I want to write a book, or I want to do, but then there's the capacity piece. And until we have that actual, like I say actual, but it's that energetic or somatic space, we need that before we can hold more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So, and you can do that on yourself, right? As well. You do that work within yourself.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So tell me, this seems like a big jump, but it's all going to come back together. But tell me, from being in the mastermind, knowing what you know and working the way you work, what has been one of your standout or your favorite lessons or modules or calls that we've had, or even one of the tools that we work through together? What jumps out at you and works for you with your business and your energy?
When I was sitting with this, the unlock your business, the kinesiology testing, so that's added another element in. And like every call had so much. But what I really want to speak to, which is probably a little bit left field, as a manifesting generator and an authority of responding, so waiting for the invitation to respond. Something I didn't know about myself, as I've sat in this energy of, I don't know what to write, to say on social, yeah, I've really struggled I want to put stuff out there. I've got so much in me to put out, but I don't know what to start and share. Through your worksheets and having the questions, I've gone, oh my God, this information is there. I just didn't have the questions.
Oh.
And so I remember when I first jumped onto the portal and I pulled out one of the worksheets, and all of a sudden stuff is just pouring out of me that I was like, where did that come from?
Oh my
And
God.
so you've taught me that if I just set up a Word document and put the questions in and then start typing, all of a sudden it comes through.
I
So
love
for
that.
me, that has been so powerful.
because you get to respond to the prompts and the
Prompts.
questions. And oh, I love that, because I often say, like, there are a few worksheets or lessons where I specifically say, like, take this with you, like, do this, and then this will be something will drop in, and then that will be an Instagram post, or a workshop even, or a newsletter, or a podcast. And I love that you are finding that with every, like, whenever you go in and you just
Yeah.
pull a lesson, pull the worksheet, and again, that wisdom is inside you. You just, as you said, you just needed the question. And once you respond to it, you have everything you need.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
powerful.
I've loved asking this question of everyone that I've been interviewing, because I don't know. It's like I don't know until I ask the question.
Good.
And I love just hearing, because I would never have, like, it's just surprising how everyone's using the work and the portal in different ways. And I absolutely just love that. And the other piece to that is, you could use the same worksheet 2 weeks later and receive different answers to the same question.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I love that. So good. So tell us a little bit about, I know, again, we've spoken about this a little bit, but if there's anything else you want to add about some of the inner shifts that you've experienced through your time in the mastermind.
So the big thing for me has been really allowing myself to trust in my business, to come and work in my business, and really fall in love with the process. So I used to, before the mastermind started, I had such a desire and intention to do it. And yet it felt hard. Like, it felt so hard. I'd sit at my computer and I would get so frustrated and overwhelmed with myself, because nothing would happen. And then I'd find all the distractions, and then time would pass. And if we fast forward the 6 months, I feel so energized by coming to work in my business. Like, I love doing it. And I'm now using my time and space better. Yesterday, I was out and about. I had 2 clients working at their homes, but there was a big space in between. And so I took my laptop and I went to the library and I sat down, and I really enjoyed just being in a different environment and working. And then at the end of the day, I look back and go, I was so proud, because not only had I done what I needed to do with the clients that I was working with face to face, I'd also spent the time working on my business. And it just filled me up with so much joy to be able to do that. And just massive shifts. Massive.
It makes such a difference, doesn't it? The way you feel when you sit down and work, and the fact of the difference of actually wanting to sit down because it feels enjoyable, instead of feeling like you should or you have to, and it feels like a punish. And then if it feels like a punish, you feel also that you have to create some immediate outcome in that moment for it to be worth having sat down. And the truth of business is that, yes, we can create results quickly, and there are things that can happen fast, and also things can take time, and there's the compound effect of the results of showing up. That is reliant on us actually doing the work, and wanting to do the work is reliant on us wanting to do it. Like, we have to want to sit down, and it's so much nicer when it feels easier.
There's a shift between us wanting and us doing. Like, it's that action. Like, we can want all we want, but until we're willing to take the action, until we're willing to take the steps and invest the time and energy, nothing can shift. And it's building the capacity to allow ourselves to sit in that uncomfortableness, because sometimes it really is uncomfortable. Let's be real here. Business isn't all light and airy and wonderful. No. Sometimes it's really hard and uncomfortable. And if we've got the supports and tools that we can be in that place, that's where the magic happens. And we learn a new way to be with ourselves, a new way to be with our business. We find the safety. We find, oh, this isn't as hard as I thought. I can have fun and enjoy doing this. I can love what I'm doing and allow myself to really receive that.
I love that. And it also, as you said before, like it gives you the race, like you become more resourced and you have more tools for even when it is, as you said, not feeling great or not feeling easy.
Yeah.
Like there's some element of like, oh, actually, I've got to persist through this. Like I have to
Yeah.
keep showing there's resistance or there's something I need to move through. Instead of just taking that as a sign that something's wrong or that we are wrong, we actually see it as, no, this is just part of it. This is the long game. This is, you know, that resilience actually builds the skill of being able to show up more. And by showing up, you build resilience. It's like this, it works both ways. It kind of gets recycled energetically, and then you get to keep showing up, even if things feel challenging.
It's like, oh, this is too hard. This is not even hard. This is really challenging. I don't quite know what I'm doing. I'll just go back and find the comfort. And I know that's been a pattern of mine because I did leave accounting probably about 10 years ago to do newborn photography, but I didn't have the belief and the ability to sit in the discomfort of something new and different. And so then I went back. If this version of me was then, I think it would have been a very different outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then also that version of you existed to give lessons for today's version of you.
Yeah.
So I can
That's
hear
right.
in that you're not shaming yourself. You're just saying this is my reflection. This might have been different had I known what I know now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So tell me how you feel in your body after one of our calls.
Depends on the call, to be honest. Sometimes it's like really great and light, and I know exactly what I'm doing, and let's go and do it. Other times I feel really tired, and it's like, actually, no, I just need a little bit of space to integrate before I come back into working in the business. And sometimes, you know, we've moved through some emotions and everything, and it's having then the permission to go and not go, okay, well, I've just got to keep working, but actually, no, I just need to go and stand in the sun and put my feet on the earth or go for a walk, have a cup of tea. It's finding that permission. And so yeah, it's been a real mixed bag for me, but I've always felt so great that I've made the time to be with the business. And so in the early days, it really was an anchor for me to this is my business time. And so then as I kept showing up and found that safety in being in the business, I then wanted to create other spaces to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that before, that you really honor and enjoy the weekly touch point. Like this is, I'm here every week. This is not to say like life doesn't happen. Actually, I think you have been on every call anyway.
I think
maybe
there was one I missed because Charlotte was graduating. My daughter was graduating from school. So I missed that one.
Yes.
But it's locked in my diary. This is my business time.
Which is kind of like self-care time, isn't it? Like this is time for me and my dreams and my desires and what I'm working on.
Yeah.
I love it. So, what have you loved most about just being in this space together?
It's going to sound cheesy, but the way you work.
Thanks. That's not cheesy.
No, but you have such a beautiful energy and gentleness, as well as a directness. And so it allows for so much to come through. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's the space that you hold and all the resources that you provide. And yeah, it just feels so nurturing. Yeah.
Thank you. Tell us what you're working on over the next few weeks, months. What are your plans for this year? What are your goals? What's happening?
So I'm currently putting together my website, which I'm hoping will be live on Monday.
I'm so excited.
So, and it won't be perfect, and I'm okay with that.
Nothing ever is.
It is. That's right. It's like, this is the first draft, and let's just get it done and out there, and then we can refine and change and whatever it needs. Because the more we're doing the work, the more that comes through. We find different ways of expressing things. So that's a big thing. And then I am looking at doing a 3-month program for people because I love like one-on-one once-offs can be powerful, but there's so much that can be created when you're coming together each week and developing that relationship, that trust, and the momentum. So that's really the core of where I'm moving forward.
So
Yeah.
good. I love it. Just a couple more questions.
Mhm.
If someone was thinking about joining us in the mastermind and you're coming into this next round as well,
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
I'd just do it. Me joining the second round, it wasn't a case of, I haven't progressed far enough or anything. It's like, I don't want to lose this container. I don't want to lose this anchor. And there's so much more here for me to do and explore. And you've opened me up to things that I didn't even know I needed to consider. Things like, the opt-ins and like all those expanded sessions. Yeah, they've just been amazing. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to do next.
Same, so much. So where can listeners find you online? So obviously I'll pop actual links in the show notes, but feel free to share now as well.
So I spend most of my time on Instagram. That's my main one. So that's Mary_T_McGilvray, which the spelling will be in there.
Yes.
And then from Monday, my website, which will be www.marymcgilvray.com.au.
Amazing. Oh, this was the best. And can I just
Yes.
ask you, side note, like, you said they were nervous before and there was the visibility piece. Now that we've had this chat and it's going to be up and out, how do you feel? What's your mind saying? How does your body feel?
I feel really good. And this is the first time I've ever been on a podcast.
Yes.
And it's been videoed.
Yes. And it's going on YouTube.
So let's just dive straight in.
Yeah.
But no, it's been wonderful to chat, and yeah, so powerful. There's still a little bit of nerves there that it's going out, but I feel really good too and excited to see how everyone responds, and I hope people can take away a lot from it. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me in the mastermind. Thank you for joining me here on the podcast, on the call. And I just love seeing like what you're working on. And also I love you honoring your pace and the way you do things and what it needs to look like to work for you.
Yeah.
It's
and thank
beautiful.
you, Cass. You have been such an amazing support.
Thank you.
On so many levels. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Thank you so much.
So wonderful.